Hello everyone, welcome to the tutorial. Today we're going to be coloring the first picture in our 100 Appreciated Chibi Girls book by Jade Summer that I intend to complete the entire book of, hopefully in this group, doing several pages per month, solely in Copic and Ohuhu markers. Whichever marker I do it in, I will provide alternative colors for the opposite. So if you don't have Copics, I will give you colors to do for Ohuhu and vice versa. You're not going to need much today. You just need the book. You'll need some cardstock. This is my Nina paper that I do Etsy printables on, and I use this to divide the pages so the ink doesn't bleed through. And I also leave it there for a couple of days after I'm done until the ink is fully dry, just in case. You'll also want to pull your colors in advance. I have these little baskets. Usually I pull all the colors I need and put them in a basket so they're ready to go when doing this tutorial. You'll have copies of my swatch, which will be linked as a JPEG at the bottom of the Patreon. You can download, save the picture to your phone or whatever, just like I do with all my ones with pencil. You'll notice, though, I've realized that I can't put all the colors in because the colors bleed through and it would go right over these words. So after doing the first couple palettes, realizing that from now on I'll just do single-sided in 2 pages. I could get these ones in because there was nothing here on the back, but you can see how that went through. But that can help you kind of see when looking, since I do the pre-palettes in advance, like of the greens, which is darkest to lightest, etc. So, and you're also going to need a colorless blender. So you can get an alcohol marker blender. You can get the one, there's obviously one in the Copic marker sets. Most of the Ohuhu sets have at least one. It says 0 colorless blender. If not, I buy like the Art and Fly 3-pack, which works for any alcohol markers as well. This is from that. The most important thing is, if you've had it for a while, is to make sure it's still fluid and juicy. So when you open it and touch your hand, it needs to feel wet. If you don't really feel much, like this one, you can't really tell. Apparently I pulled the wrong end off. Let's try this one. This one doesn't feel quite as moist. I've had these for a while. So this one's about running out, so you can kind of tell. So that's why you need to test it out, or you won't get the right effect. You'll also want at least one white jelly roll or a gel pen of some kind for little details on eyes and things like that. And I'll link all of these things below. I do use my products over and over in all these videos, so it won't be just one time. If you did decide to purchase anything, they would be used regularly. Okay, well, let's get started. We're going to do the cheerleader first, just because we all need a little bit of cheer and good tidings. And then I'm going to move on to one from the Halloween pages next. Here's the one we're going to do first, is the cheerleader. She's just so cute, and I think with all that's going on in the world, we all could use a little cheer right now. And I'm mostly doing like hot pink and fuchsia tones. So she's going to be kind of like, like Barbie-esque cheerleader. Like, for example, you see her shoes are these 2 pinks. Her outfit will match. In these pictures, I like to do the skin first, then the hair, then build out the outfit. Some cases I'll do skin last, depending on if I'm unsure of my clothing color palette. Now, this is Amazon paper, yes. The reason we're doing the pre-shaded version, not the line version, I don't even know if you can get the 100 of them in the line version. This is technically 4 books separate, combined into one, and it's like an anthology, which is why I purchased it, and they lay nice and flat. The shading is good for alcohol markers, especially if you're more of a beginner. You don't have to learn as many blending techniques to get a nice look, and I will teach you some things as we go, but that's why I'm using high quality alcohol markers, because they will work better on Amazon basic Amazon paper than inexpensive markers like a Shuttle Art or something like that. If you don't have either of these markers, you can follow along, picking colors from whatever marker sets you have that are similar. But I really recommend you getting the Ohuhu Honolulu 320 set, which is going to cover all of your needs for all of my tutorials, and of course Copics. I always get my sets on eBay from Japan, much more inexpensive. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started on her skin. So for her skin, I have Toast Eggshell Pinkish White, Pale Cherry Pink, and Blush, blush being the blush color. We always have one color that's a little darker, maybe two for outlining her face and shadows. The eggshell is pretty pale, so that's going to be an all-over basing color. And then we'll work our way in. So we do the overall basing color first, which is going to be the eggshell. All right. I'm going to try to, if I hopefully have cards for, sometimes I don't have all the cards I need, but most of the time. So the trick with skin and alcohol markers is to work quickly. It's not like pencils, to take your time, because if you wait too long, things start to dry, then they streak when you try to keep putting in your colors. So I like to have all the colors for my skin laid out at my right side, you know, assuming you're right-handed, or left-handed if you're left-handed. So I'm actually going to lay out my colors darkest to lightest. So I'm going to lay them out next. I'm going to put it like in this order: Toast first, the lightest. Theoretically, you would put eggshell first. Okay, well, let me rephrase that. We're going to lay them out in the order we would use them if we have to do 2 rounds. So eggshells for basing, then your dark shadowing Toast. Then the next darkest would be the Pale Cherry Pink. Then we would put in the Pinkish White. Then our final blush color, whatever we use for blush. And of course, keep your alcohol marker blender nearby. Might have to use the eggshell, which is the first color, to sometimes come back and touch in a little something or soften up some pinks. And I have my alcohol marker blender. We may not need that for the skin. I tend to use that more for non-skin areas, so just keep it nearby. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to base her skin in this eggshell. I'm just going to pull it in strokes. And I'm going to go kind of fast. You don't have to get every little nook and cranny, because again, this is going to be covered up. So you really just want to get down a layer. We'll go back and do the ear. Don't worry about the ear, because we want to work a little bit faster. All right, just one skin area at a time, one small skin area. So just doing the face. Okay, we touched in the eggshell. Now let's grab our Toast. And the Toast is going to get run over where we have these darker lines. So up along the forehead, maybe down here along the eye. See the shadow? The benefit of this grayscale, like along the bottom of the face, is that the artist already put in where some of the shadows should be for us. Right here. I'm going to go under this eye and along the hair up here. I'm going to do a little bit here on the nose. Go up a little bit here over this eye, and that's all we're going to do. I'm going to put it back in the same order. I'm going to grab the next, sorry about that, my bad. I'm going to grab the next color, which is the Pale Cherry. So the Cherry Pink. That's another thing, is I can't go as quick if I'm dealing with my cards here. So in that, we're going to blend just a little bit into where that Toast stopped, over and into. See, I already would have wanted to go a little faster than this. And if you need to re-moisten where the other color left off, that helps it be able to move a little. So we're going to go around the eye. We're going to go here and up the nose in a longer line. Okay, so really we're just going over it, blending that in. Okay, so then we're going to go to the next color, which is the Pinkish Vanilla, which is really Pinkish White. I think I wrote Pinkish Vanilla. Okay, then we're going to blend this in just a little at the line where that color ended until we get in the blush. Now there's a little step we have to stop. We have to set this down and get our blush, okay? And then with the blush, we have to put in the blush, and then we have to continue after with that pinkish vanilla. So I'm going to put in some blush on the cheek. Put in the blush on the cheek, kind of just right here around the hair and whatnot. Okay. Then I'm going to resume with the pinkish vanilla, what I was doing, and go over that and then continue into the rest of the white space. So you see, going right back over that blush when it's still wet helps to blend it and make it look natural, and kind of keeps it kind of juicy, still moving, so you don't see any like harsh lines. I'm going to go over everything. Don't worry if you get some on her hair. Her hair will be dark. If it wasn't going to be dark, I would say be careful. Okay, so now I'm going to take the blush again, and I'm going to put a little more pink back in. Okay, so I'm going to put a little more pink back in over that. It kind of takes a little bit of layer to get that pinky look. And I'm doing a subtle pink. As you can see, now this will fade. It all looks a little dark, but it does fade a little. I'm going to put a little pink up here along that brown line, just up in the corner of her face, around her eyebrow right there. Okay, then I'm going to take the pinkish vanilla again. And I'm going to blend right back at the edges of where I did that pink. Just keep it moving, keep it moist and juicy. Okay, and then I'm going to take my eggshell, which was the first basing color. I'm going to put in just a little right around here. You see where it's lighter? And then maybe around the nose right here. That. And then I'm just going to kind of stop. That's it. It's very simple and quick. Now everything's going to settle and fade a little, and then you'll see those different dimensions and different colors, so it looks like a mottled skin, not quite as flat. If you see any area that bothers you, take your blush, like it. Maybe I didn't put in quite enough blush here, or it wasn't smooth over enough. I'm going to just tickle in a little bit more right here. I try not to touch it too many more times. I'm also going to maybe take my pale cherry and just put a little bit more on the nose and going up right there. Okay. And then I shall take my lightest again, which is the pinkish white. No, wrong card. Pinkish white. And one last time around the mouth, where we just, like at the edge of where we just put in a little more blush. Give it one final little blend over, and then stop. The more you work it, the more likely you are to get streaks, and just, we're done. So that's it. Now we're going to start that process again, but quicker. We'll do that on her ear. So base it in that eggshell. You only see one ear, so we'll base it in the eggshell. Okay. Then use that toast to do the little shadows. Under ear, a little bit along the edge, along the top. Okay, then you can use that, the cherry pink, and kind of just blend a little bit over those brown areas, around the edges, and a little bit in the middle. I'm just going to kind of dab it. A little bit in the middle. Then I would go to that pinkish white. I don't think we really need the blush. We'll see. And I'm just going to go over all of it and tie it together. Yeah, I think I will take the blush though, and I think I'll put it right into the center of her ear. There we go. Now just know if you decide you're using, I'm going to put a little around her eye of this blush too. If you are using the Ohuhus, I recommend instead of these skin tones, they don't function exactly the same. Colors are gonna be a little bit off. I always hope that people have the same mediums I'm using, or you try to obtain them over time, because you can learn and grow and do the tutorials specifically and learn how to use the mediums I'm teaching. But just keep that in mind. But the process is the same. It's going to be the darkest, it's going to be the lightest, the base, then the darkest, next lightest, next lightest, all the way back down, putting the blush in the second before last when you re-go everything with the basing color. So it's, you'll get used to that. We'll do it again here on her, well, let's do it on her legs. Okay, so I'll show you again. And you'll get faster and faster at this. Here's the eggshell. Okay, so we're going to take the eggshell. I'm going to do one leg at a time, because if you do all one color and then go to the next, by the time you finish one leg, the other one's drying already. So I always work on one small area at a time. So this is actually a little bit of a bigger area. Just going to get that eggshell base in. I think these are socks, which I didn't realize before. I thought they were bands. Okay, anyway, next let's go to the toast. So again, that's the darker, so we're going to put that over the grayscale, wherever you see that shading. So up here, along her skirt, down the leg, just pull it like it's a paintbrush, down here, and a little bit above the sock. That's it. Next, let's go to the cherry pink. Okay, and then the most important thing to do first is to blend at the edge of where the other color stopped while it's still a little wet, so that that color transition line isn't harsh and like obvious. You want it to be a little subtle. So that's the most important thing, to get that in first and leave the white space in the middle. We kind of box our way in, close it in. All right, so we're only doing a little bit of that. Now let's go to the pinkish white. And I'm going to go around almost all, except that little kind of little V right there. And I'm going to re-tap in the eggshell, which was our original base color. That last little highlight area right there. That's it. We didn't use the blush because there's really nowhere to put blush. However, sometimes if there's areas where you can imagine, oh, it might be a little pink there from heat or friction, you know, you might want to put a little pink up here in the corners over that brown, or right along inside of her thigh, maybe right up here, sometimes around armpits or at the folds of the knee, right there. Maybe if you do that, I would just take that pinkish white once you do and just go around the edge of it. Another thing is, most of that gray is gone. See, it's fading now. The skin's looking more normal. If you ever are using too light of colors and you can still see a little gray or grayish brown, just do a second color, a second set of the exact same steps. Go over again with that darker color, and then that gray will dissipate. Okay. Super easy. Now let's do again this side. So we're starting with the eggshell. Put it up higher. Gonna base it. You always base with the lightest color you can find, a very neutral one, not with much pinks in it, just a very almost white or cream, very, very light cream. Okay, then we'll do the toast. And we're going to do these dark areas. Okay, then we shall move to the cherry pink. All right, and we're just gonna color into the edges of that toast before it dries. Then we'll grab the pinkish white. And we're gonna circle in and leave this kind of ovally area right here in the center, which we will then touch in one little tad of eggshell. And that's almost like a highlight, kind of. Put a little eggshell right in the center for a leg. That's also kind of like where the light's hitting. And we'll just kind of let that fade, see how it looks. I'll take the blush and I'll put in again just a teeny bit around the inside of her thigh. Maybe a little bit up here. Sometimes you can put like right on a kneecap, right down here, maybe a little touch pink from some redness. Okay, done with that. So that's gonna dry. We will do now her arms and her neck. This looks like mesh on her belly, which looks like see-through. So I'm a little, I have a plan for that. Okay, we're gonna do above the neck, above that mesh, and the arms. And I think even the belly, we can work quick enough to do that at once. Well, maybe I better hold off on the belly. You guys might not be able to go as fast. Well, let's just do the arms and the neck first. All right, we're doing the eggshell. Let's get these arms basted. Turkey basting. Baste. Okay, and then we're going to move to the toast. We're going to put in here around the arm, along the arm. Doesn't go all the way, but into the armpit. Into the armpit. Under her neck, kind of at an angle like this. Just a little bit above the chest. All right, then we got the inside arm, the top arm, arm crevice. Okay, now we'll move to the cherry. So hopefully you're getting faster and faster. We're gonna blend right around the edges of where that toast ended. Just put in a little bit of this in each spot. And we'll bring that further down the neck, put a little around the bust line. Okay, just a little. Now we'll move to the pinkish white. And we'll put in cover most everything. Leave a little sliver in the center where we can put a little eggshell. And we'll do each side of like her neck. Leave a little around the very center of her chest right there. Do the arm. Then we take the eggshell and I'm just going to go right down that middle, right over that white spot, and right down the middle. So then I might actually take the blush and we're going to put a little redness in her armpit like I had mentioned, the blush color. So we'll put some here around her armpit. I like to put a little in the fold of the arm on each side. A little bit around the chest, bust area, coming upward. Put in the whole armpit there. Maybe a little at the fold of the arm you can draw in. Okay, and then we want to go to the pinkish white to kind of just run over around where we added that. Okay, so a little bit more on the chest. All right. Okay. Excellent. Now that it's faded in her ear, I'm going to take that blush and put a little more pink right in the middle of her ear right there. And I feel like it faded where it looks a little more grayer than I wanted on her ear. So I'm going to take the toast. Like I said, you can add that shadow part back in. Okay. And then you just have to kind of run over it with like the pale cherry. You can do like a second round in the same order. Just to cut down on that if you need to. And the pale vanilla white. Perfect. So I did get some on her dress. I bled over a little bit right there. It bled over, but I'm just going to tap a little more on her chest of that pinkish white all over so it's nice and even and flat. Do a little more right here. Just go over that arm. it looks splotchy anywhere, then I'm taking the pinkish white. I'm just going to go over it real quick. Just the whole thing. Just kind of try to tap and smooth it out. All right. Around her knee a little, maybe. Okay, a little shadow. You can add in just a little bit of this pinkish vanilla. It looks a little darker when it's wet, but it'll fade just a little if you need to increase the shadow in certain areas, like right there. Yeah, but really that's it for this her skin. We do need to do her belly. Two things. So this is a light mesh. You can see her skin under. Want it to be pink, but I do the lightest skin tone, which is the eggshell, is all we're going to do to base over this. And then we're going to go over it with a light pink. So it looks like a tinted, so you can almost see the pink and the skin color. So just leave it one round on it. That's it. All right, now let's do her belly. Okay, basing in the eggshell. Let's do the toast. I want to get right around here, circle around her stomach, a little bit at an angle at that corner right there, just in some like little shadows. Then the cherry pink. I'm going to blend around that, along under the strap of the tank top, around that circle, a little bit on the side. Move to the pinkish vanilla. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit around the belly, not all the way across the top, just kind of around the middle. And then I'm gonna take the eggshell and I'm gonna do a final like on each side of the belly button. Do it again. A little bit of blush around the belly button where there's like that shadow. I might want to go over a little pink. Make it like a little pink, more of a reddish pink tint to that right there. A little more pink right above the bust line. Then again, when you do that, you have to then take the pinkish white and you have to blend in that. Just need a little more color on her chest, I felt like. I only do teeny areas at once. I try to because it looks the best. So I'm going to take that pinkish, I'm on the pinkish vanilla, do a quick other little layer over everything. That's really it. We did her skin. It was simple. We didn't want too much blush, too much on the face because she's young. We got our shadows in. We got our highlights in. It's going to fade. We got the blush in. I think it's fine. We don't want to touch it too much. It can get a little smeary if you do that, especially since this is not marker blender paper. But we're done with that. We didn't need the blender. So we're going to put these away. And I'm going to move on to doing her hair. All right. So for her hair, we have maroon, Caribe Cocoa, and Cocoa Brown. So I have Caribe Cocoa, Cocoa Brown, and maroon. Of these three, so this is the maroon. I didn't do it dark enough to really get a good look of what's going to be the darkest color. I'm almost positive it's the maroon, but I'm just going to do this swatch a little darker. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, and the Cocoa Brown. So just by looking at it, you can see we have three browns. A really dark, a mid-tone, and a lighter brown. The lighter brown often has a little more tan in it, maybe a little goldish tone. When doing hair, especially grayscale hair, it has dark areas. Those darker areas, the roots and shadows, you always do the darkest color of your three tones. Then the middle tone kind of blends into that at each end, and then where we have more of these bright white, the whites, that's where we put in our lightest, the Cocoa Brown. And it's kind of this just ongoing symphony of getting everything in there and working it. Sometimes I'll use the colorless blender on that, so I'm going to keep this here nearby. Caribe Cocoa. So we will try to do small areas of hair at one time. That way you don't have to worry too much about, don't want to worry too much about it drying. So this is theoretically, E77 is maroon. To make a ad hoc bad handwriting card, which is what we're starting with. I can't find my card, but this is maroon, E77. Sorry about that. So the maroon being the darkest, and it looks more brown. You don't even see much red in it or anything. So let's say we're gonna start on this piece of hair coming down, okay? I'm going to reserve that lightest color for kind of the middle. So I'm going to stripe in this maroon, and the roots are up here, starting kind of at the roots, or you can kind of go down. And you don't have to go in any kind of even succession. I'm going to put a little bit like in this dark line here. Got some more right there, a little bit on this pointed one here. Just like a line or two. And just kind of like that, just kind of stripe some of it in. Then go to the next brown, which would be the Caribe Cocoa. And that's when we're going to kind of blend into that where that stopped. I'm going to stripe that in kind of over and around the other, leave room in the middle for that lighter color, like leave some white spaces. See, I have some white left there. So then we come in and we try to put in the Cocoa Brown. So we're just going to put that in kind of in the middle. For some reason, this does not look... Is that Cocoa Brown? It doesn't look like the same color. I think I might have swatched... I might have meant to use the sepia, and I swatched the wrong color. I'm going to try... Yeah, it should be sepia. I'm going to take the sepia and go over, which is fine. It just gives us more brown tones. Nice and rich browns right here. Oh, actually, that looks pretty good using all four colors. So let's do that. So we're going to use four colors, actually. Sometimes the sepia is right under here for the eyes, but I think I also had it in the hair. I think I put that sepia right there and that instead of the cocoa, which is actually next to it. And sometimes that orangey one, you run that back over everything. It gives it kind of a nice look. And I'm going to actually take the alcohol marker blender and see if I can run over that and a few where we put that, just two little highlights right there. See, it almost gives highlights where the highlights should have been. So I put that in right there. Just barely tapped it in. Okay, let's start this again. Maroon. Let's try this again. So she'll have nice dark brown hair. I want to do this section of her hair that goes from here, the root, around her forehead and flips up. Not right there, but just this going up this way. Okay. So I'm going to put this in here at the root. I'm going to just put in maybe some stripes of it down here, maybe just a few little stripes of it. Just kind of imagine there's a little more gray scale than there is. Just kind of stripe that in a few spots. All right. So then the Caribe Cocoa. I'm going to blend right into where we left off that color. Just over it in a few spots. Striping a little here, there. Just kind of striping it, you know. And then the Cocoa Brown, since apparently I like that overall look. I'm going to put in most areas. Leave a little white. This is giving us multiple dimensions of brown tones, which is why we're doing it like in this order. And then the sepia to kind of go over everything. Some quick, long, soft strokes. She looks beautiful. It looks like beautiful golden auburny hair. That's actually a great color combination I came up with. So I'm going to take again the Alka Marka blender and just put one, maybe two little highlights right there. That's it. That's kind of where underneath it was already white, where the lightest color was supposed to go. I'm re-putting in my little Alcohol Marker blender to put those highlights right in those spaces. Okay, so back to the maroon. What I think we'll do is these other 1, 2, 3 hair pieces here. So I'm just going to put in a little bit carefully around her forehead so it doesn't bleed over. Going this way, just not much room to put in much, just a couple little dabs of stripes. We'll do again right along the line like it's a separate hair, like you have separate roots, pretend almost right there. Just get in a few of these dark stripes in a few spots. Go to the Caribe Cocoa. I'm working pretty quick, blending into that base area, a little bit down here, there, a few stripes in. Kind of like whisking it in. So it's, you don't want it all like in one area or necessarily all even, because hair looks like, when you're looking at it, it looks all kinds of darks and lights and lows, and it doesn't look like it's a flat color, you know? All right, the cocoa is a lighter brown, a dull brown. Getting in some of this. It's okay if it overlaps because we're doing all the hair the same color. And lastly, we'll put in the sepia. Make sure we got the right one. And going over this hair. Perfect. A little bit right there to touch up. Okay, so I might put in a little bit of a highlight in that one, so it's right here, right there, right there. Very light on that one because it's wore away, so it might not be getting as much light. So you can see it's kind of redundant, but let's move on to the right side of her head. I just want to do that area for some reason. Okay, maroon. We're gonna go, there's some kind of broken glass or confetti on her head. I'm just gonna go over that. I don't really think that's necessary. We're not gonna be able to hardly see it. So I'm just gonna go right over that and assume there's roots here and come down this way around the ribbon. And I'm gonna kind of just swipe down a few stripes, put a little one in the middle of the ribbon. Also gonna do one down here, assuming like there's roots here. Okay. Next is the Caribe Cocoa. Okay, then the Cocoa Brown, crazy for Cocoa Puffs. Get in a little bit, I'm just kind of striping it in, just slowly filling up those white spots. Dispersing it, you're dispersing it. And then the gorgeous finishing color, I like to call it, is the Sepia. So you'll see we can go a little faster once we know, but you gotta know what you're doing. Careful around this ribbon though. Heavy pink. Careful around the face. Another reason we do a finishing color like this that's a little bit rich and more bright is because not only does it show all the other different shades of dark underneath, if it starts to dry before we can blend it, this kind of covers that up. So you wouldn't see any kind of streaking or anything like that. Okay. Let's do 2 highlights, maybe one right there, maybe one right here. That just kind of lightens it up right on over that color. I do one up here. That alcohol marker blender. Okay. We can move a little faster. You do small areas at a time. It prevents streaking and getting a more natural look to the hair. Go ahead and do the top of the head, the root going just in there. And stripe some in here or there. Caribe Cocoa. Then Cocoa Brown. Okay. And the Sepia. Just kind of dabbing at it. Don't want to go too heavy and use up all my ink. All right. I don't really know that we need any highlights on top of her head. I like it darker at the root like that. I mean, you could put in like a teeny tiny bit right there, but I don't really think we need very much. Mostly I like it that darker deepness there. Let's go ahead and do this ponytail and we'll go back and finish that side. I just want to get a big chunk of it done. All right, so let's do this gorgeous maroon. We'll work on the ponytail just to here. So from here to here at one time to the ribbon. So we'll go in around the ribbon. First I'm going to kind of outline it and then I'm going to pull it down like this. So it's darker at the top of the ponytail. Then we're just going to kind of like put in some stripes into it. Okay. Then the Caribe Cocoa. Blend pretty quickly into this where it stops and then pull it down, pull the color down. Okay. Then to the Cocoa Brown. Go more along the wall here. Just striping that in. Leave a little white. And then the Sepia. I did cover, there was a little confetti in her hair there. I covered it again. Generally that stuff will get a little bit bleed over anyway. It's hard to put like a light color. Like, you know, you can leave it if you wanted, but I just felt like covering mine up. Okay, so we're going to tap in a few highlights here where it already looks a little lighter. So right there, just pull it in a long stripe. Pull it down long so it comes down kind of natural. There's a little one right here. Okay, now let's resume the process. Got to move kind of quickly, working our way back down with the maroon. So I'm going to continue to stripe it in. Gonna just kind of follow the curves here. Let's just do this one side. I'm just gonna kind of go follow from the bottom, follow these kind of curves in. Okay, then we'll do the Caribe Cocoa. Gonna follow in these lines. It's okay, they kind of overlap, and somebody goes on to the blank space. Okay, then the Cocoa Brown. I'm gonna try to get a little bit more the Cocoa Brown in. There's too much white space here. Okay. Then the Sepia. Let's go between the ribbon. Got a little on there. Gotta go with a reminder to go slower around the ribbon. Okay. Perfect. Now let's put in a few highlights. Maybe one right here coming kind of down. One right here, one right here. Maybe one right here. Just need a few, don't need too many. Excellent. Put one here. Okay. Looks good. I see one area I'd like to touch up right there. Okay. You can do this side of the ponytail. This is revealing what I think is a little skin tone I missed. Let me grab my toast color. Get that in there. Dark shadow right there. All right, I'll do the maroon. All right, so we'll get some around here, carefully around the pom-pom. Caribe Cocoa. Cocoa Brown. And Sepia. This in the window is what takes the longest because it's the biggest surface area. Now you can replace single markers Copics are refillable. Buy the refillable ink on Amazon or Dick Blick. I'm kind of lazy with refillables. I just replace the whole marker. It's only like $6, $7. Like, that's only a couple dollars more. It's just me. You can find most of these colors individually on Amazon if you run out of ink. Highlight right there. A little bit right there. Okay. Whew. So we got one. That was one whole side of the hair. Okay. So let's do her eyebrows real quick. For her eyebrows, I think I'll just use a little bit of that maroon. Darkest, kind of, I'll dab in a little teeny bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe I'll do a little bit of the Caribe Cocoa. Then I'll dab in a little of the Sepia. I think I'll skip the other one. Okay. No highlights or anything needed there. Okay, let's go to the other side of her head. Let's do the maroon. I want to get in this little area, all maroon, here and here. Then kind of stripe in a little bit of this down on her face. 1, 2, 3. Let's do some of this here. I'm going to kind of go out a little bit from the top, from this ponytail here. And the rest I'll just kind of stripe in. The Caribe Cocoa. Okay, let's put in little Cocoa Brown. The Cocoa Brown is going to go into her eyes. It's kind of light. You don't see it a lot because we are covering it with that sepia. But I'm going to put it in her eyes with the chamois instead. But this is an undertone, or low light, basically, which still is important. It'll tie into the look we have on her eyes, theoretically. Go around that pom-pom. Got a little on there, so I was going too fast. Be careful around the glass window. Slow down. All right, you can go a little faster once you get away from there. All right. Okay, so then let's put in a little bit of highlights right there. A little bit right down alongside of her face, right there. Oh, it looks nice. I did some good color paletting on this one. Did I forget the colors for her mouth? Yes, I did. For her teeth. And well, the teeth are, it's an easy solution, but maroon. So we'll just do up to here, this first section of hair that kind of loops around. So we'll get in a few of the stripes of the maroon here. Gonna follow the curve of the hair. There's more confetti there. I'm just going to go over it. Okay, Caribe Cocoa. Caribe Cocoa. Follow the line of the hair. Okay, let's do the Cocoa Brown. Okay. Just striping it up like a paintbrush. It is a brush pen after all. Sketch pen. Down here. Let's get in some highlight right there. A little bit right here. Maybe one right there. Okay. Whew. Gotta find some sparkly metallic to do like a pink metallic to do her barrettes, I think. That'd be cute. Okay, let's do maroon. Okay, going to follow the line of this down, down. Then we're going to kind of go up and around, up and around. Down, 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 down. Okay. I'm gonna go to Caribe Cocoa. Caribe Cocoa. Okay. Do the Cocoa Brown. There's a lot of repetitive. Open the lid, close the lid, over. That's just how you have to do it if you want to get a good look. If you want to use alcohol markers on Amazon paper, have it look good, it's just a method you really have to employ if you don't want streaks and fading and all kinds of other weird stuff. I've been coloring with markers since 2017. So I can tell you I've learned an awful lot. I've taken a lot of classes, and this is these methods of redundant sectioning, I call it, doing certain sections, layering, finishing colors. It's all part of getting the final look. And you do the same thing even if it's better marker paper, the same method, it'll just look even different. The hair would look more vibrant, not as dull as it would on this paper. Okay. And we've got all the hair. I just need to touch in one little highlight, I think, right there, right here. Woo, we did it. Okay. So I want to do her eyes next, and we're going to use for her eyes chamois and the cocoa brown, which means I need my white out so I can alter what is written on the palette. I have, well, shoot, do we want to use the, I don't think so. I'm not going to want the sepia just yet. Let's just wait and see. Okay, so you can see in her eyes, there's 2 white spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where we're going to put in a little bit of a Posca pen, leave it white. We'll try to go around it. So the cocoa brown, I also have here. Okay, I got that one. Okay, what the, oh, that's the wrong one. Bear with me. So if you're looking at these colors, you have cocoa brown and chamois. This is kind of a golden color I wanted to do her eyes. We also had that sepia. These 2 we've put in her hair. But you can't see this one because it was covered up. I don't want to do too much redundant color of what's in her hair. Maybe a dot or 2. So let's take the cocoa brown. We're going to put this into where you see some dark areas, like in little lines like this. You see how there's already like little lines? Use your fine point. And you're just going to kind of stripe in some lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do a little bit right there, around that highlighted area. Okay, it kind of looks like a spider web coming out. Then we just take the chamois, and we're just going to go right over it, all the way to the edge. Go around that highlighted area, but you'll be able to see the kind of the brown stripes underneath. And these golden eyes are a good color. As well, because it's similar to the sepia color, but different, not quite. And then I might even take the cocoa brown again and put in a little more so you can see it. A couple more dabs and stripes. There we go. And I mean, we could take, let me try something. don't do it in case it fails. I'm going to take the sepia, put in just a little bit, circle around the iris, the black part. A little, maybe stripe in a little of that over the other stripes. That way you can see it. Yeah, that worked fine. Okay, so we are going to need a black pen or marker. I forgot to put the black, I think, on the swatch, but you do need the black marker. I have a black Spectra Ad markers. They're kind of like Copic's. Whatever black marker you want to go over her little pupil here with it, because that black that's in there is pretty dull. Okay. All right, so I deposit, but one thing I did, I grabbed my Posca pen. I took that alcohol blender and I striped between each of those lines so you can see those highlights. It looks more veiny. I'll show you how to do that on the other side. So let's do that cocoa brown again. Okay, and then chamois. This one doesn't have as many highlight spots. So then I did take the sepia, and I did make the lines a little more pronounced. Brings out the color in her hair too. And then I took the alcohol marker blender, the brush nib, and I kind of put it in between each one, and it kind of then makes the lines pop out and puts a little more reflection in her eyes. See how that worked? You should see them pop a little more now. It'll fade, but then you're going to want to take a Posca pen. I mentioned you can also do this with your white jelly roll. I like my Posca pen, the 3mm for the center of the eyes. Activate it. I'm going to dollop that right in over that center of her eye. So it's nice and vibrant. I'm going to do this one here. This one here. I'm going to add a little one down here too. Okay, and then I'm going to do her teeth. Can't get all the way across. I need to wait till it dries and take a white gel pen to get the little corners, but that's the most part, and then we'll use a fine liner to put in some teeth. We gotta wait for that to dry. So I actually might dot in one more little dot on her eye right there. Okay. Maybe right there. Okay. That's all we need. Put that to the side. So we're technically done with her eyes and hair. Let that dry and fade and everything. We'll come back and do her mouth. I need to pick some colors for that. We can put away all of our skin colors and everything. We're gonna move on to, I think, the pretty colors now. So I was thinking of doing the pom-poms first, which is cerise and shock pink. So I have cerise and shock pink. All right, so that's cerise and shock pink. I'll fix up the color palette a little later. So these, obviously the cerise is darker. Take that cerise. It's the RV06. All right, so then I'm going to, they're doing the pom-poms. Wait, stop. Pom-poms, no. The cerise and the shock pink were for her shoes. Okay, not her socks. All right, that's good, it's fine. Let's go down and do her shoes. So I'm just gonna use the cerise around the grayscale areas, the dark areas. Like along the side, kind of around and over that little tongue area. Over here, we'll do like around the back of the heel. Okay. And the shock pink. This matches her outfit. This is a real neon-y pink. I'm going to leave that little diamond area center in her shoe blank so I can put white in it. And get between the laces too. I think the bottom of her shoes should be black. I'm going to take my black marker. Again, I'm going to do it black, so use any black marker you have. Okay, I need to add that pink between her little laces, the black. We'll go back for the laces. I'm not sure what color we're going to do that just yet. I'll probably be using these colors again, but I'm not sure yet because I haven't decided about the socks. So hold on to that. Okay, so I got the colors for the pom-poms. That's the raspberry and the rose flower. Let's do that now. The raspberry is this purpley fuchsia color. So in the pom-poms, you can see some darker grayscale areas. So I'm just going to kind of put some of this in randomly where I see these grayscale areas. Okay, right here. Let's do a few at a time. Right there. Okay. Oops, there's a little bit. So then let's go to the dog rose flower and just fill in the rest. I'm gonna move pretty quick. Put that right over those areas while it's still kind of wet, and then go back in and fill it in. Working quick. I like to try to do that before everything dries. Excellent, and that'll fade out and then we'll deal with as necessary. Let's finish. Put in a little bit here, here. This is just one particular look. You can also just use one color and go over everything, and then it'll just look darker, and that color will look darker in one area versus using a different color. Okay. Let's blend this in. This is similar to her shoe color. I think this one has a little bit more of a orangey red tint. It's not quite as neon pink. This actually has a undertone of fuchsia itself in it, I feel like. we go. Looking good. That's one quick palm. If we were to take the blender, let me just try. I don't really feel like we need that. I mean, we could put in like a little highlight right there, a little bit right there, a little bit right in the middle, a little right there. That kind of gives it, I mean, that looks good, I guess. It makes it pop. A little orangey hue. Okay. Going for neon colors. Let's do the raspberry now on the other side. Let's do these two down here. I can see some gray here. Right down here, there's some. Right along here. A little bit along here. Let's just do these real quick. I have to blend into this color before it dries. Use the blender. See, it's kind of fading to more of a pink now. This one looks more orangey. I think because it is the Amazon paper, they fade just a little bit, and then it changes the color a little. And then we are also putting in, you know, our own little pop there. There's all the tricks you can do, you know, putting a little pencil and things like that. All right, let's keep working here. Just putting in a little bit here, a little bit at the base. A little bit right there. I'm just gonna real quick try to get in this color over those areas. Okay, let's put in a little bit of highlight. I like how it's giving it that, making it kind of pop out a little. Okay. Got the raspberry. There we go. And we're done with the pom-poms. I'm gonna put in a little touch there. Give it about half an hour. It starts to fade and kind of dry, and then we can see if we need to do anything, put a little bit of pencil or that kind of thing. Wait till we get the whole picture done. Okay, so next we'll do her outfit. And I don't know why I've gone over all the confetti. I guess we can do the one on her skirt maybe. I didn't even see that one until I went over it on her pom-pom. So for her top, let's see what I have here. I have Cotton Candy RV52, and I have RV55. I should have written in that was Hollyhock. So that's for her top. Oh, then the elastic, we have Azalea V05. Azalea. Okay. All right, so I've got Cotton Candy, Hollyhock, and Azalea. And I think it's the same for her skirt. Hollyhock. I'll put the top. RV52. The only thing I have one additional color, which is E000 Pale Fruit Pink, for whatever reason. Okay, well, let's do her top. Her top first. And so you can see them swatched. These are the three colors. So we're using the Azalea for the little band at the bottom. In fact, we'll just put that in right now. Real simple. We need to get a light pink, maybe that pale fruit pink to do as the mesh on her chest I was telling you about. Let's just do that right there. Actually, also on her skirt, same thing. So let's put it in now. This was the elastic color. All right. So then of these two, the Cotton Candy is light and the Hollyhock is darker. So I'll start with the Hollyhock. And I'm just going to do like, again, the grayscale areas like her shoulder where I got a little skin tone. So around the bust line and a little bit over the elastic and up. Again, her shoulder, over the elastic, maybe around like the armpit bust line right there. That's it. Then grab the Cotton Candy and put that in. I think we can use this Cotton Candy for that mesh too. I want to blend this first. Let's go straight over her chest. Now, as you can see, the skin tone is underneath. So by putting it over, you get a tint of pink, but it's also, you can see the skin tone through it. It just kind of looks like a darker skin. That's how we do that. I want to actually touch in a little more Hollyhock around her bust line. I faded it a little more than I wanted. I'm going to put that back in around her shoulder. All right, I'm going to take I'm actually just going to go right along the edge of that in the middle with the Cotton Candy. And then blend in with the alcohol marker blender so it lightens up right over the Cotton Candy mostly. There we go. That's all we really need there. And then for her skirt, I'm guessing the pale fruit pink is probably that band along the bottom. Let me see. It's a a little lighter than I would have wanted. I don't know why I put that. It's practically skin tone color. Why did I write that there? I mean, you can't even see it when you watch it. That's a skin tone. I think that must have been an error. I must have meant to put that down on her skin or something. So we're going to white that out. I'm going to white out the pale fruit pink. Okay. So basically we're going to do the same colors as we did in her top. I like the idea of doing that azalea all along the bottom, like the border of her skirt here. I'm going to do that here. Let's just do that. Okay. There we go. I might even, let's go over it one more time, darken it up a little. Sometimes I might take like a pencil and darken that up. Okay, so now we can do the other color. So take the hollyhock. I guess we'll go around the confetti. We'll put in some other color later. Let's take the hollyhock and do here the grayscale areas. Okay. All right, now we can put in the cotton candy. There we go. And then I'm going to put the cotton candy down here, the back inside of her skirt as well. I do think I'm going to try to find a Prismacolor pencil just to touch up something, just to put that azalea, make it a little darker. Or maybe, I'm going to take then again the hollyhock and just, I'm going to put a little bit of that back in. Just darken it up a little, those shadowies. Okay, now let's take the alcohol marker. Well, I'm going to take that cotton candy and go a little bit around the edges of that. I can soften it a little maybe, but take the alcohol marker blender. And that kind of makes it, you know, it whitens it a little. In fact, I think we need to put a little bit of the hollyhock down here. There we go. Then a little bit of blender there. I have to touch a little cotton candy down here again. I'm going to take a darker, let's see what I have here. I just have a couple random things. I have a Tombow Dual brush pen right here. What if this is darker? Maybe a little. I have an Ohuhu light violet. This is just stuff I have randomly nearby. Let's see what this does. I'm trying to see how I can darken up. waistband a little. That's a little darker. You can use like a darker purple or something. I'm actually going to use this too down here. So you could leave yours or just go over it again, or use another darker fuchsia. This one wasn't quite as dark as I had wanted, and I don't want to get up to go to my Copic rack, so I'm just using my Ohuhu. This is a Ohuhu P2 Light Violet. Or you can just use a Prismacolor pencil and go over it, like the Mulberry color, Process Red, any of those, which are really more purpley, would be good. There we go. I like that. In fact, I think I want to use that on her sock strip too. So if you have Ohuhus, grab this. Otherwise, just do 2 more layers of the azalea, or get like a darker mauve purple. There's a train going by. I'm actually going to do this on her shoelaces too, because I think it'll look good. So just use whatever you have, or the colors on the swatch. Sometimes I like to improvise. I think that looks a little better. It makes it pop a little more. And as I suspected, a little ink bled over onto that confetti, which is why I didn't think it would be worth trying. I think for the socks though, we should straight up put in the hollyhock. On the whole thing, but it will look darker where the shadow is. Actually, I might take the azalea and put this in for the over it where that shadow is right there. See that? Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and do the windows. I have you'll need your alcohol marker blender. And for that we have 3 blues. We have B01 Mint Blue, B00 Pale Porcelain Blue, and B00 Frost Blue. The Frost Blue is kind of the middle tone, so we'll start with the mint, which is nothing minty about it. It looks blue to me. And you need your alcohol marker blender. So what I like to do, and you can see my B01, you can see there's some darker stripes on the window, so that's where we're going to put in the darkest. So I'm just going to kind of swipe my marker where you see these lines a little bit, kind of where you see these grayscale lines. Should do one at a time. Okay, and that's the mint blue we're doing. Then we should do the B00, the frost blue. And same thing, we're gonna just kind of put that in some other areas. Try to fill up more white space. Then get your lightest, the porcelain blue, and we're going to, oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Oh man, that was too dark. Okay, well, that's my fault. Let's ignore that. We're trying to grab the porcelain blue. We're just going to run over everything with it. Right over those kind of, trying to get the color in kind of quick before it gets too dried. Just get that color in there. Try to fill up all the white. might not have been the best way to do this. There's smaller windows are easier. The method I just used is what I usually do with my small windows, I just realized, but I have a different method for bigger windows. Oh well, that's all right. We shall improvise. So we're just gonna get this all covered in. All that color. Make sure you get everything in there. Blue. And give it one more. Go over. Make sure I get all along the top. Okay, and then I'm going to take my alcohol marker blender, and I'm just going to run over a lot of spaces. I want it to lighten up, especially where you don't see those darkest stripes. Okay. Maybe around her head. Kind of in between. So we're lightening it up, look a little bit more like maybe there's some glass and a little, I'm trying to make it look like the sky is reflecting off the glass, kind of. Less like you can see through it, you know. Great. I'm still dabbing at it. Trying to get everything kind of pale and fading out. There we go. All right, that will dry and it'll fade a little. Let's do this one as well. I assume that's a window. Doesn't really say, but we'll do the mint blue. I'm gonna just draw in my own little stripes here. Just put in some few of those. Do the frost blue. Dabbing it in, corner here, there. Okay, then the pale porcelain blue. Get this in here. This one is a little overall less, that darker blue, I think, than the other one. Cover everything up. I'm going to take the alcohol marker blender and just kind of get into these white areas here. Excellent. Okay. Okay. That's good for now. We're going to let that dry. Let's go ahead and work on the wall. So for the wall, I have some grays. If you look at the palette, I may not have fully filled it in, all of it, but I have Cool Gray 4, 3, and 7. I put for the trim 7. I don't know why I put that. I think the trim, I meant to do that for window trim. Yeah. So the first thing I want to do is take that Cool Gray number 7. And I don't have any cards for the gray because I think I just added that at the last minute. So let me write this down. I have Cool Gray 7 we're doing now. And let's just put that here into the trim very carefully and slow. This one too. Great, one down here. There's a little one here on the wall. You can see it just a little bit right there. This down here is a track, I think a running track. All right, so next, let's do we're on the Cool Gray 4, doing this one, improvising. I don't have any cards. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna start on this one section. We're just gonna kind of, just gonna do like outline the wall a little, pull this down, outline our hair kind of like that, and then switch to the Cool Gray 3 next, and blend that right on in pretty quickly before it dries. Blend over and then go into your own white space and fill it in, tying the colors together, making it like a little shadow. We'll let that fade. I'm going to put a little bit of it back over. Right back over it. Outline it again. Yeah, so that'll leave like a little bit of a shadowy area put off by like the window or the hair or whatever. Gonna do the same. See, that's more of a look for the corner though. So I want to do just the Cool Gray 3 for this one. Let's just do just the Cool Gray 3 for this little strip right here. Okay. And then in this little middle strip as well. There. So for these areas down here, I'm going to put in a little bit, so like along her hair right here, and then down, maybe like around her body down, and then fill in the gray because we're trying to make a little shadow because there's, you know, other objects around that area of the wall. Okay, we're gonna fill in not around her face, just the straight up Cool Gray 3. We're doing just the Cool Gray 3. And then this little area here, just the Cool Gray 3. Okay. This area over here, we'll do the Cool Gray 4. And fill that in. Obviously it's a cement building. So this is the track and it goes at an angle. So I'm imagining this little area is all the track. So let's go here. So let's put a little bit around her, the Cool Gray 4 around her arm, her ear only doing it in one area so you can see like the shadow is in one area and the color kind of lightens as it gets away from it. Okay, then let's do this area too. We're going to do around that frame, up her body in that little area there. Okay. Let's do up under that fence border, down around the flower, around. Let's follow the line of her hair up to the grass. And then the 3, that was the 4, that's where we're putting the shadow. Then the 3, gonna fill it in. Pull that color down a little bit. I'm actually going to run back over that one. So that shadow looks a little more prominent. I'm going to put that back in, this number 4. Okay. I actually think I want to make it a little darker under her chin, just for part of it with the 4, so you can see some of that like shadow there. And put a little more up here, the 4, like that, a little shadow, and then run back over it with your number 3, blend it in. Okay. So that's pretty much all we have to do there. Let's work on the grass now. So we'll do the track last. For the grass, I have 4 greens. 2, 3. So for the grass, we have Veronese Green, Nile Green, Emerald Green, and Yellowish Green. The Nile Green is the darkest, followed by the Veronese Green. So we're going to take the darkest 2 colors, starting with the darkest Nile Green. Where are you? Doesn't look the darkest on the barrel. And that's what we're going to put into the blades. Okay, so color in all your grass blades with this. Or if it bleeds a little bit over, because obviously all this grass will be filled in different greens. Okay, let's go over here. Almost done. Whew, okay, so next let's go to the Veronese Green. Veronese Green, don't know what that means. And we're just gonna put in some dark around the base of each of these areas, like some little squiggle lines. We'll start on just do one side at a time. Just kind of squiggle this in. Go under it a little bit. Around the confetti. And the reason we're not doing both sides at once, I'm going to put actually a little bit of this green around the shadow in her hair here, because we don't want to dry. So let's go next to the emerald green. The emerald green. And we're just going to kind of blend into these, start filling in the white space. We're going to kind of blend under that. And I'm just kind of extending out the areas a little bit more. I'm going to blend up into that shadow. Go under her foot, just kind of start filling in. I'm just going to fill in a little bit here. We'll just put in some of our own, maybe right here. That's, oh, shoot. That's the track, and there was grass on it. I went around it. That's okay. We'll just make it look like there's some grass growing on the cement, so I'll put gray around there. Whoops. My bad. Okay. So yellowish green, and then let's just fill in the rest. All the blank areas and overlap. So we can kind of just try to blend it, overlap the grass area mostly, not necessarily the blades, but it really doesn't matter. You can get all of it in. Remember I said you got to work pretty quick when you're doing alcohol marker, so I just kind of sloppily try to get the color in, and then I go back and fill in the missed areas. So the track, oh no, that's the track. This is grass next to the track. I think that's the track. This is like a piece of cement. That's grass. Okay, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a little bit odd. All right. I can't believe it's late September and we're having an 88-degree heat wave. It's gross. But we're over the summer. I'm starting to pull out all my pumpkin spice clothes and my autumn clothes, and it's like, nope, just kidding. Heat wave. Pacific Northwest. Which is very unusual, might I add. Oh, but global warming doesn't exist. Didn't you know that? That's a joke. It does exist, and people who say it doesn't are crazy. I don't know how they explain it then, but all right, so I'm going to assume this is green. Not the strip, though. I'm going to do all this in green. So I was wrong about that. So we are going to go in green with this. Okay. I mean, these are very basic coloring books, so sometimes we can't really probably tell what everything is supposed to be, but we do our best. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to, let me make sure I got all the white filled in. I'm going to go back to the one color before this, which was the emerald. Emerald. And I'm going to, so it doesn't look quite as splotchy, I'm going to fill in a little bit. Because now you can kind of see that lighter yellowish green underneath. So now I'm just kind of going over everything. The emerald. In hindsight, this is a working process to do grass, flat grass. I'm gonna go over this, that yellowish green showing underneath. Okay, just kind of color this in. Markers are pretty unforgiving. I'm sorry, pretty forgiving. Some pencils are unforgiving. Now I'm going to go back in with the yellowish. We're just kind of trying to smooth it out, and I'm going over everything now. Build up some layers of like different tones. Okay. And then I'm going to take the alcohol marker blender. I'm just going to tap in a few areas where you see a little bit more of that yellowish green. Just to kind of lighten up a few things here. All right. And then we'll move on to the other side of the grass. Then I have to go make dinner. People are texting me, where's dinner? Not like they can't make their own dinner, but apparently they can't. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so let's move on to the other side. I'll be done in 10 minutes. Text them from my Apple Watch. All right, so we got kind of a little bit of it in there. I might come back with a dark green pencil and go over those darkest areas just to kind of make them pop. So we'll do maybe that with a Prisma at the end. let's do this side now. We started with the Nile Green, so now we need the Veronese Green next. All right, Veronese. Okay. Same thing, we're just going to kind of squiggle under the roots of these areas. After dinner, I'll come back and we'll finish this picture. Just going to squiggle in a few other areas here too. Maybe put in a little bit here. A little bit here where that grayscale is right there. Okay, let's go to the emerald green. Emerald green. Going to kind of overlap that, and we're going to squiggle more of this color in. The stripes on that track will be black probably, or super dark, so not worried about if I got a little green on there. Let's go here, let's get a little more in. And yellowish green. Gonna get all, just hurry and get a little bit of this in. Moving pretty quick. Just to get this color in. Right. Gonna go right along the track. Squiggle, 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 squiggle. Isn't that from a kid's show my grandson watches? Might be Miss Rachel, I'm not sure. TV show. Or Mickey Mouse Funhouse, because that's his other favorite. Okay, then let's go back to the emerald. We're gonna get a little more green in there, kind of even things out. Cover up that yellowish color we just put in, but we can still see it kind of through, but there we go. Okay. I do want to tap this alcohol marker in here on the top. The blender, I mean, before I go down to the bottom, because I want to kind of do that while it's still wet. Get that in some areas where it was a little lighter. Here, there, everywhere. Okay, let's get down here. We're going to recover this up. The point of that lighter was to, so now you can see the yellow tones come through. So that's why you do a darker, put that in, then put a darker back over. This one's not so dark that you totally can't see it like the original colors. It's the one color lighter, like a mid-tone. You know how grass in the summer has like a little yellow tone to it? That's kind of what I was trying to achieve here. All right. I am going to touch this again with the yellowish green, which I didn't do last time. I want to get a little bit of this back in. And we could touch up a little few things with pencil. Whoops, that was an accident. Okay. Wow, now my wants dinner too. Rubbing my foot. All right, let's get in the alcohol marker blender to a few of these areas. We're trying to create like a mottled look, a little mottled. I need to get a little up here too. I forgot. It doesn't work as well when it's dry, but you can still achieve the look you want. And we'll get like an evergreen pencil and we'll come back in and we'll put in some dark over that grass. So now we see like some light highlights hitting it. We see like some different tones of grass. So it's not so flat. And this is just like a beginner method, easy of doing grass, not, you know, an advanced level where you can do like 3D grass and realism in grass. That's more of an advanced level since this is beginner level. Doing it the easy way, I'm just touching this alcohol marker blender all over. Okay, well that's all we need for the grass for now. I'm gonna find some sparkle pens or gel pens that are maybe a purple or a pinkish, like a fuchsia, from any of my sparkle sets to do these barrettes. And you can do the same because we probably won't have the same exact ones. I have an Ohuhu sparkle pen set. I might use metallic sparkles. And then we're going to do this track. Oh, this is grass here. Darn. Okay, that's okay. Real quick fix. Let's fix that. I'm going to put in some Nile Green. Didn't see that. Right here where it's kind of poking up. Did not see that. And then let's put in the Veronese Green. Just a little. Let's put in the Emerald Green. Going down further. Let's put in the yellowish green. We're doing darkest to lightest basically. I'm gonna go back over, lighten things up, a little yellow tone. I think that's what this is. I'm gonna put the yellow tone down and then I'm gonna go back over this with the darker green right here under the gray wall. Yeah, I didn't realize the grass went that far. That's my bad. I'm gonna take the alcohol marker blender, put in just a teeny bit of this right here. Perfect. All right, so we're done with the grass. I'm gonna pause, make dinner, come back, and we will finish the track and her barrettes and her mouth, and we'll be all done. Okay, so I was able to update the swatch to account for the colors in her mouth, and I grabbed a couple things. This is my Spectrum Noir glitter pen. It's a neon pack. This is the neon pink. I've used the neon orange in my gnomes for the holidays, pumpkin picture. I also have one of my neon gel pens, my Guangna, which is a nice purple color I was going to do for the confetti. So I'm going to do this color here, this hot pink. I'm going to do for her barrette. And it's an acrylic paint pen, but it's glitter and it's pretty thick. So it'll look, you know how like you can go to Walmart or wherever and get those little sparkly, metallic-y snap barrettes for little girls. That's what I'm trying to do here. Does require being activated on a regular piece of paper. This is a great set. I've had it a couple of years. If it's still available, I'll try to link it below. I've used them for a lot of things, a lot of final details and things on stuff. Make sure I get that in there, pretty rich color. You can just put it in. Yeah, that looks just like a little girl barrette. I think this is another one here, maybe. I don't see another one on this side though. Okay, for the confetti, this is a purplish one. We got confetti on her dress. These Guangnas, it's 2 colors in one. So when it dries, you basically see purple and, in this case, it's purple and blue. I use this pen also in my gnomes for the holidays, the two gnome witches with the cauldron. I use this on the little owl and on her belt and stuff. And it's really pretty cool. And those were a lot bigger, but it's like you can literally see both blue and purple and like a metallic-y sparkle. You probably can't tell on the video, but it's really neat. And I looked all through my history. I couldn't find these on Amazon. I don't know if they're not available anymore. I'll look again. Maybe they might have changed the name. So I got those little confettis. Here's one on her pom-pom. I covered the ones on her hair. I mean, we could go over it if we don't want it. Just put it right there in her hair there. I keep getting... All right, yeah, I think that's about it for the confetti. For her mouth, I have Baby Blossom, Dark Pink and Peach. I wrote them on the color palette. I really am having a hard time finding like a tongue color, which is kind of a purplish pink. The best I could come up with is blending two colors and overlapping them. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the RB34, the dark pink, and do her tongue. It's pretty close. And then I'm going to go over it with the Baby Blossoms, the RV95, which just kind of gives it a little bit more of that purpley hue, more along the bottom half. Like that. That's really all I wanted to do there. For the inside of her cheek, I'm going to do the peach, which is R32. This, I don't know if it's going to work. I think it'll be fine because it's grayscale in there, so it'll make it look darker. It should be fine. That's good. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that turned out well enough, I think. So then I also want to take my black micron fine liner and put in some little teeth. I need to get my white gel pen. Do I have it here? My jelly roll, and touch up, because I didn't quite go far enough because I had used the Posca. I couldn't get that final bottom white line. Go all the way. But anyway, what I wanted to do is I was going to take my black micron. This is great for eyelashes, tiny little things, a lot of things, and it's a 0.45 millimeter. I'm going to draw in teeth. This is kind of hit and miss sometimes, but I'm going to put a very thin one right there. I'm going to put in another big one, so she has like two big teeth. And then these ones could be made a little smaller. It's hit and miss because like I just did, I messed up the line. And then now you got like a black thing that looks unnatural. Okay, so I put in teeth for her. If it goes terribly, you can always go back over it with the Posca pen. It is kind of risky. Like I made one boo-boo there already. I also wanted to actually take that and blacken up her belly button a little bit. A little line here on her chest. A little tiny black dot for like a nose hole. Right there. And I'm torn. Sometimes I do eye makeup and sometimes I don't. She's kind of young for like an eye makeup look. I think I'm not going to. Man, I botched up this tooth. See, that's always a risk. I'm just going to go over her eyelashes though. And I'm going to give her an extra one. Or 3 or 4. Okay. Same here. I want to do over the couple that she has. I'm going to give her a couple over here. 1 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. And then I'm going to take my Artist Black pen to darken up the area around her eyes. And I'm using this one because it's controlled. Because, you know, the black printing from the book is a more of a dull black. I want it to be a darker black. So I'm going to go over this whole thing. This one too. Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. I'm highly annoyed by that tooth of hers I messed up. Ugh. Tempted to fix it. I can go over it with my jelly roll and fix it, but I have to let it dry first. Alright, I'll fix it and redo. I'm going to redo 2 of them once it... Okay, I gotta let that totally dry. It's a little better. Okay. Definitely need that jelly roll. Lastly, we have to do the track. For the track, I have Toner Gray 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 being the darkest one, and the 10 is the one we're going to use for like the strips. So I'm just going to put this Toner Gray in straight dark. The Toner Gray 10. So if you're wondering, I don't have a card for that one, but I do the others. But let's just put in the Toner Gray 10. Okay. I'm going to pull this color across. And this is almost like a black, but it's a dull black. Like on your Hewlett-Packard printer. It's more like the darkest, coolest, cool gray almost. Or like a muted black is what it is. Trying to go straight. Okay. That one's done. Now let's do these. These are just like those dark strips that they put on next to the kind of charcoaly gray padded like running tracks you see. These ones are often kind of asphalt. I'm going to do up here. I'm going to do this one over here. Let's do this one. This one. Okay, so we got that track in. Now you don't see the track over here, but I'm going to draw mine in because it doesn't quite match. So I want to draw in a little black bar right here. Almost so like it looks like it continues and it matches. Okay, so then we need to just put in our last 3 grays. I almost don't know if I want to do the Toner 9 because I want to go a couple shades down. So I'm not going to do the Toner 9. I'm going to put that one back. I also have here, don't need that one. Shoot, I think let's do the Toner Gray 8, and that's really just for a couple of shadows. I'm going to do that like right here in the curve of her hair. I'm going to kind of put this in like this. It covers up some of that brown. And then we switch to the Toner Gray 7 and kind of go over that. Yeah, these are all still pretty dark, but really, you know, it's supposed to be like asphalt, so it's those fake asphalts. And it's fine. I still could have gone even lighter, but this one has more of a brownish French gray tint, but it's close enough to kind of being like a faded black, like asphalty kind of color. And you know, you really can't see the two, so I'm not even going to bother with that 8. Let's just finish this off with the 7. I can't even see that 8 in there. These are coming across darker than I remembered them being, so we're only using the 7. I don't even need the 8. We're going to put that away. And let's just do all the rest of this in the Toner Gray 7. After this, we're basically done. I did want to get a dark green Prismacolor pencil to make that grass pop with a little bit of dark green pencil, just the grass that's poking up, which is kind of like a nice effect that gives it a little more dimension when you do grass and markers, which can look kind of flat. Let's go up here. Okay, so that road is basically done. We could theoretically take our black alcohol marker and run over that track so it pops out a little more, because really these colors are a little closer together than I thought and I remembered when I last used them when I was swatching that, so that was my bad. I should have done a couple of Toner Grays lighter. So I'm just going to run this over just so it's a little more of a darker black on the strips, so it'll stand out. And in fact, a black pencil might even be good. I'm going to let this dry for a minute while I go grab a green. Maybe I'll get a black too. You just wanted this to be a few shades darker so it popped out more, is really, I mean, you could see it. It's sufficient enough, but another thing I like to do is add just a teeny bit of little sparkle on the window so it looks like glass. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I'll be right back. So I came up with an idea that I forget, to make it look more asphalty. So now that it's dry, take your alcohol marker blender. I've been waiting about 10 minutes and I did it here. You see that? It looks kind of mottled. When it's dry, you can run your alcohol marker over the whole thing like a top coat, like a clear nail polish top coat. And it almost looks kind of more asphalty, like it leaves like a mottled look. So it's not so flat. And it's kind of like a halfway between like the highlight of the alcohol marker blender and the black. So it actually looks more like it might be one of those running strips. Yeah, that's good. I wish I'd show you that shit sooner. I wonder if I should, I don't know about doing that with this one though. I'm going to leave this one. No, I'm going to do them both. So I'm just going to run it over. And that's why you need a nice juicy one for it to really work. Just pull it over. It works. You can see it more on the bigger one, but just gives a special effect. Yeah, it definitely looks better on this one. Anyway, so I missed a couple little confettis I hadn't covered on her hair. I did right here. And I grabbed a dark green, peacock green Prismacolor, PC907. And I'm going to just try this to put in a little bit of dark spots on the grass. You can use any dark green you might find. I don't know how I got a little pencil line on her. Let's test it. So just for the grass blades. Oh yeah, that's good. So just run this right over the grass blades. Do not do this right when you finish the grass. Wait like half an hour till it's all the alcohol marker is fully dry, or it'll be like, it won't work. It'll feel like wet or damp. Yeah, so it goes right on over. So this just makes it look, you see that? It makes it look a little more Like it has more than one dimension. Like it's just not flat, you know, like it makes the grass pop a little. You definitely want a dark green. Some of the others, like the olive green and the kelp and the marine green, those were had too much yellow tone in them. You need one that's like an evergreen tone. If you don't have these in Color pencils I use for a lot of my tutorials, there's 180 colors. They're amazing. They blend just as well as Prismacolors. You get 180 versus 150 with Prismacolors, and they have trays of green, whereas Prismacolor has like maybe, I don't know, 8 greens, 10 at the most. Colors, you get like 3 times as many green shades. It's amazing. Same with the purples and fuchsias. They have hardly any grays, but they're like 2 grays, I think, but they have way more colors, colors, which is one reason I love them. So yeah, they have amazing greens. Okay. Okay, let's just get all these little grass blades. Trying to keep the marker tutorials for people that like markers and don't want to use much pencil. Like I'm not relying much on blending pencil and marker, so maybe like an occasional one color touch up or something like that. And you don't have to do this by any means. This is just an optional thing. I want to show you how to I put a little sparkle in the windows to make it look more like sun is hitting it, like glimmery. Which is an optional thing as well, but it's something I do a lot. Whenever I show you like special effects things you can add to pages, if you ever wanted to buy them, I do link the products, everything I use in these Patreon videos in the details section, but I do use them over and over, so you wouldn't be buying it like just for one video or whatever. I use a lot of the same things. I'm trying not to pull products that hardly anyone would have or would be really expensive to buy. Just simple little things. That's way better. Let's get this one up here. Excellent. Another thing is I was going to grab my yeah, I'm gonna grab, here it is, my black pencil and go over this so these borders really pop. Let's just try it out on this one. Yeah, it's a lot better. See, it really pops out. And that's another thing when you have marker, if you do a little bit of pencil detail woven in, it really makes it look more realistic, like it gives it dimension. It doesn't look so flat when you have a pale, more of a dull marker, and then you have a marker with pencil over it right next to it. The contrast of that really gives things like almost like texture, and just kind of brings them to life a little. Just any black waxy pencil, Color black is fine. Castle Art Gold, Fila Color, any of the waxy ones. I don't know if I would use Polychromos, but Starjoy Golds are fine too. Okay. Yeah, so that's really, I like that a lot better. I'm thinking I'm not going to do that here all over this one because I want the track to really pop out. So if I did this one too, your eye wouldn't go right to here where those, you know, contrast of the lighter mottled gray and the black, which kind of pops out. But I don't want it I don't want this one to get much notice, so I'm leaving that in the backdrop. Okay, here I have my icicle stickles. They're clear and sparkle. I like to dab it on my finger and put it in windows. And I use this for a lot of things, like on snow effects. Just squeeze it onto your finger. And I like to tap it in a few different places around until you get it on. And then go back and dab it a little. Dab it into the paper. And just kind of move it around. Just do it light. Depends on how much you want, but just gives it like a little glitter. I don't know. I think it looks, from a certain angle, it looks more like sparkle from a sun, or even I use a lot of my magic pictures, my witch's cottage, and yeah, real simple. Then a little bit on the finger again. I'm going to do this one. You don't need to do this at all. It's just something I like to do. I use these a lot though. If you want to pick these up, I also use the black diamond ones a whole lot, which are like black diamond sparkles for astronomy pictures and Halloween magic and just everything. You can even go right over the confetti if you wanted. Okay, well, so I'll show you, so I can hold that up and show it to you. I also grabbed a Papermate Flare, kind of like a pink color. I thought I might be able to give a little more color on her mouth. I'm going to go on the bottom of her tongue for a little more shadow there. That's perfect. And this is a Papermate Flare Goji Berry. It's the scented Papermates. So we are actually done. So much simpler than my pencil ones, right? A lot faster. I'll show it to you up close. You can see that window. It'll dry. It's wet right now, but it'll dry and then flatten out, and then it dulls up a little, gives a little bit of a sparkle to it. And this wipes off your finger. It's not like glue or anything. It doesn't really stick. Yeah, so we're done. Hope you had fun. We're going to be doing a couple of these every month. So hope you have the book, and I'll try to put in Ohuhu equivalents. It's not going to be exact. I'll do the best I can. All right, I'll see you in the next tutorial.